Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre here. In this video, we're looking at a watch from Zenith with the Chronomaster Open. So in this video and on this channel, we cover watches available for purchase on our website, teddybaldassarre.com, as an authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout the video, if you have further questions or looking to buy this watch, check out the link in the description down below to the product page. But without further ado, let's jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. While many of us are familiar with the heritage revival or vintage inspired category that is at the forefront of Zenith more broadly, a more recent development from the brand in the last 20 years has been their advancement in open dial designs in their watches. This has extended to a variety of models and has evolved to include more involved skeleton executions. However, the middle ground of flamboyant and balance is best represented by the Chronomaster Open. The evolution of this design made its notable appearance under the leadership of the former brand CEO, Thierry Nattas, and was given a reimagined idea in 2022 at Watches and Wonders with a variety of new staples and wearable cases, all while showcasing the heart of arguably the most important automatic chronograph movement lineage in watchmaking history with the El Primero. The Chronomaster Open we have here is going to be the black dial variant, has a case measuring at 39.5 millimeters in diameter and a thickness of 13.8 millimeters, and finally a restrained lug-to-lug of just 45.4 millimeters. On the bracelet, given the male end length that meets the case, it does add slightly to the wear. However, this watch wears as close to mass market appeal as any size, wearing like a classic 40 millimeters in my estimations, and will wear smaller when paired with a strap. Set between 20 millimeter lugs sits a 3-link style bracelet with polished center links and brushed outer links that follows a uniform flow of finishing all the way down to the fold over clasp. The clasp itself is quite nice and exhibits modern specifications you look for, with 5 points of micro adjustment and screwed in links on the bracelet for supporting more drastic size changes. The central case follows the theme of surface finishes with a polished bezel, bevel, and case sides and nicely brushed lug tops, breaking up the many surrounding polished elements. At 3 o'clock, a large polished push-pull crown decorated with the Zenith star provides ample grip, flanked by pump-style pushers offering great tactile and audible feedback on your stop and start, especially thanks to the column wheel operation. Between the push-pull crown and the case back, which is secured to the central case with 4 tiny screws, the Chronomaster Open comes in with a surprising 100 meters of water resistance for extra peace of mind, though is the case for many chronographs, never activate the pushers when in a wet environment to avoid damage. Alluded to in this model's name, the standout feature here was always going to be the dial, which follows other Zenith chronographs with its tri-register format while making room for a prominent cutaway on the left side of the dial when looking straight on through the protective sapphire crystal above. Before addressing the elephant in the room, the lay of the land includes a 1/10 of a second scale for your running central chronograph hand, which sits above the pencil hour and minute hands and is a sight to see as it moves around the dial at a blistering pace. Set 1 step inward is the printed minute track and applied hour markers with an offset Zenith logo and layout of 3 sub-registers, a 60-second counter at 3 integrated with the chronograph, a 60-minute counter at 6, and a running 60-second counter at 9 on a transparent Hezolite backdrop. Unlike many other open designs you see in the market, this movement was customized in order to showcase key aspects of the caliber on the anterior side of the watch, most notably the balance sitting at roughly the 1030 position, and the silicone chameleon-like escapement wheel that almost changes colors depending on the angle that feeds power to the oscillating balance above. The caliber itself is known as the 3604 El Primero, a more recent development of the El Primero's long history dating back to 1969. In the last few years, we have seen the general rollout of 3600 movements within Zenith's collection that relies on many of the best modern chronograph tech. Given its operating beat frequency of 5 Hz or 36,000 vibrations per hour, there is a level of timing scales that can be achieved here that would be impossible for most. Most notably is going to be that 1/10 of a second indication that we've seen on the front of the dial. The movement, apart from that, as mentioned, features a silicone escapement, which will alleviate the negative effects of shock and magnetism, and the caliber also has an extended power reserve compared to former takes on the El Primero with 60 hours. An impressive feat considering it is a 5 Hz beat operation we're seeing here on a single barrel. The chronograph operates with a lateral clutch and a column wheel, which can be seen clearly in vivid blue. Finishing as well as the layout of its architecture is well done, with a line grain pattern on many of the bridges, a tasteful array of blued components, and a skeletonized rotor that is topped off with prominently cut edges on its interior and exterior points. In terms of general operation here, again, 36,000 vibrations per hour, 5 Hz. It does feature hacking and hand winding, hacking stopping the second hand when you pull the crown to the farthest position, and power reserve of 60 hours. So now to wrap up looking at the Zenith Chronomaster Open, just some closing thoughts here. Now one, this is not going to be your run-of-the-mill design from Zenith when it comes to their Chronomasters, anything with an El Primero movement entirely. This is going to be more polarizing with its approach with that open dial aperture. I think one aspect that I like about Zenith, and I think some others, is going to be its under-the-radar type of approach, which this is going to be less of that idea. Also, polishing is going to show wear, especially on that clasp, but that is pretty much inevitable nowadays. And then in addition, the lume on this version is going to be really only useful in pitch black environments, so it doesn't really provide a lot of additional upside and visibility in dark environments. It is there, it will do its job, but not to an exceptional degree. But now shifting over to some of the pros. For one, this is where you start to see a separation in the uniqueness at this dollar amount. Not many watches are going to have this open heart type of feature with the open view of both the escapement wheel as well as the balance. High beat frequency of 5 Hertz while getting 1/10 of a second indication. It's a little out there, maybe not going to be as conventional as some other scales, but still very cool in practice to see that second hand move around the dial at a very quick pace. And you could also argue, is a tachometer really that useful nowadays? I could argue that 1/10 of a second is even more useful. 60 hours of power reserve is very nice to see for a 5 Hertz beat operating frequency. Excellent wearing dimensions. I would say this wears like a true 40 when you have it on the bracelet, even smaller, maybe true to size at 39 millimeters when you have it on a strap. And then still having 100 meters of water resistance is a nice add. But really what this watch is going to be is a more playfully flamboyant take on the classic El Primero Chronomaster design. If you're somebody that wants a great chronograph around $10,000 with view of the movement and you can't get enough of it just from the back, this is where this watch makes a ton of sense. And when you're talking about legends, you think about the familiar names. And let's be clear, when it comes to the El Primero, there is no chronograph movement, in my opinion, for its segment comes close in terms of its history, its importance, and its technical ethos and where it represents itself in the market. All right, everybody, that's all we have for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. That really does help us out. Also, if you are in the market for this watch, we do have it available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is an authorized dealer of over 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. Also, how we're able to fund all of our productions, traveling across the world, investing back into the community is through selling watches on our site. So if you are in the market for a watch, we'd love to have your business. We know you can buy a watch essentially anywhere nowadays, but we really work hard to create a world-class experience that allow you to get your next watch. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.